This lesson is called Translations. We want to be able to apply rules of the coordinates of preimage to create a congruence transformation, which is going to be a translation. So first we're just going to review the coordinate plane, and let's see, we have the x-axis here. Sorry, we have the y-axis. Okay, so this is the x-axis. This would be the y-axis. And then the origin is the center point right here. And then we have the different quadrants. We have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay? I feel like y'all should be pretty familiar with those. So an ordered pair, xy, okay, describes a location in the coordinate plane which the x value represents the horizontal distance from the origin and the y value represents the vertical distance from the origin. Again, I think that y'all should be pretty familiar with this from algebra. What we're going to go and just name what the coordinates of these points. So point A, if you count over on your x to the right and go up, it is 6, 5. Sorry. 6, 5. And that is in quadrant 1. So all of the points in quadrant 1 will both have an x and a y that's positive. Now when we go to the left of the origin, these over here in quadrant 2 will be a negative and a positive. And then in quadrant 3, negative, negative. And in quadrant 4, positive, negative. In other words, when you go to the right, it's positive. When you go up, it's positive. To the left, it's negative. And down, it's negative. So point B is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So point B has the coordinates of 0, 4. And it's not actually in a quadrant. It's on the y-axis. So anytime you have a point on the y-axis, your x-coordinate will be 0. Point C is negative 3, 5. And that is in the second quadrant. And then point D is on the x-axis, so that is 2, 0. So again, anytime you have a point on the x-axis, then your y-coordinate will be 0. And then point E is 5, negative 5. And that is in quadrant 4. And then F is negative 1, 2, so let's say 1, 2, 3, negative 4, negative 3. And that is in quadrant 3. Okay? Again, hopefully that's just a quick review. So now it's just going to ask you for practice to plot and label these points. So let's just do that. 2, negative 1 would be, let's see if I can get that a little bit better. 2, negative 1, that is point M. Negative 3, 3 would, negative 3 would be N. 0, 1, 2, 3 and a half is right here. 5, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 is T. V is negative 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0. Negative 1 half, 1 should be about right there. It's kind of hard to get exactly on here. And then 0, negative 2. Okay? So just a little practice in plotting points. Now what we're going to do is start translating them. So let's see. Let's learn a few terms. The first term, a transformation that moves the pre-image to a new position by moving up or down or left or right on the coordinate plane. That is a translation. So a translation does not change the shape. It doesn't change the size. It looks exactly the same. It just moves it up or down. Yesterday we talked about dilations, which made them bigger or smaller. These will be the exact same image. And so a new image produced in a transformation is called, that's actually called the image, the new figure. The original figure is called the pre-image. So we have an original figure, and then we're going to give you some rules to move it, and the new image will be called the image. Okay. So now here's some rules. Look at these. When a point A has an x and y coordinate called the pre-image, and it's moved to a new location, A units right or left, and B units up or down, the new point is called A prime, and it's A with this little prime, and it has the coordinates of x plus A and y plus B, and that is called the image. So let's look at an example. So we're going to just shift points here. So if each point is shifted 3 up and 2 to the left. So think about it. If we're going up and down, that is changing y. So that's the y coordinate. If we're going left and right, that's x. So when it says 2 units left, that means we're going to subtract 2 from the x coordinate. So I'm going to write that right over here under this point. I'm going to subtract 2 from x, and then 3 units up, I'm going to add 3 to y. So all we need to do are find the coordinate points for the A, B, C, D, and E, and then to each of them, to translate them, we're just going to subtract 2. That's going to move it down, and we're going to add 3, and that will, we're going to subtract 2, we'll move it to the left from x, we add 3, and that's going to move it up. We can, let me just change colors and we'll do one. So let's look at point A. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -7, -2. So again, if we go 3 up and 2 left, 3 up and 2 left, we would end up there. But we also could just take -7 and subtract 2, and we see that that is -9, and take -2 and add 3, and we get a +1. And you can see that's exactly where we ended up. Okay, so we can physically move them. Like again, let's look at one more, B. We can go 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, and to the left, and end up right here, and that's B prime. And we can see that that is -1, 2, 3, 4, and -4, 3. Or we could have just taken our original point, which was B, which was -2, 0, and then subtract 2 and add 3, and you'll see we get -4, 3, which is where we end up. So we'll finish here. Let me just go back to this color. C is 1, 2, 3, 3. And again, I can subtract 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 3 plus 3 is 6. And we can do it just by using the numbers, or we can actually physically move them. D is 1, 2, 3, -3. And so again, I'm just going to subtract 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. -3 plus 3 would be 0. So let's do that. So we're here at D, and we're going to go 3 up, 1, 2, 3, and 2 left. And you'll see that's exactly where we end up. Last one, E. Let's see, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2, -7. And if I subtract 2, I'll get to 0. And -7 plus 3 is -4. So again, let's go to E, and if we go 3 up, 2 left. That's exactly where we end up. So we can translate them mathematically by adding, or we can physically move them. All right, so now they're asking us to plot some points, connect the points, and create a quadrilateral. So let's just plot the points. -4, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that is A. And then -4, 1. That is B. 1, 1 is C. And 1, -4 is D. Okay. So there is our pre-image. And now they're asking us to translate the figure 4 units right and 3 up. So from this picture, we could just do what it says and go 4 right and 3 up. So I'll just start with D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And so that would be considered D prime. And do the same with C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that is C prime. And go to A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that would be A prime. And B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And if we connect these, we should have a congruent figure. It has just been translated. It's just been moved. And that's it. So connect the new points and draw the segments, and that is our image. Right, let me scroll up for a second. Yeah, because it asks the question, what type of figure have you made? And if we go back and look, and if you count, you can see that all the sides have a measurement of 5 units, and they're horizontal and vertical lines. So we have created a square. Okay, is that the last one? No. Use coordinate notation to describe each translation. Okay, so we want to go from A to B. So we need to give these points. A is the point 2, 2. And B is the point that looks to be 6, 5. And so if we want to know how to get from A to B, well, we're going to take our X. And X is moving left or right. So moving from A to B, we're moving to the right. And we started at 2, and we end up at 6, so we move 4 units. So that is X plus 4. And then the Y coordinate was at 2, and it ended up at 5, so we went up 3. Okay? If we want to go in the opposite direction, you just change color from B to A. Well, I'm going to start with my X. And I started with 6, and I moved to the left to 2, so that's -4. And I started with 5, and I went down to 2, so that is Y -3. Okay, so we're just moving left, right, up or down. On the quick check here, use coordinate notation to describe each translation. Okay, so since these are translations and they're all congruent figures, each point in the figure is going to move the exact same amount. So